Hi there, this is Amanda Frankel with our Crafty Playdate, and I wanted to make a card with you today, and mind you, I said with you, not for you, so get out your craft supplies. This is going to be fun. That will have your recipients so excited. Okay, not in this case, because what we made was a sympathy card, and they're probably not so excited. But it is kind of a sweet card. It looks a little bereft, right? Comfort and healing to you. But it shows there are brighter days ahead. So this is what's referred to as a magic card. When they pull out, it's colored, and when they slide it back in, it's not. I'm telling you, and we stamped on the back of ours too, I'm telling you that people that you give this to are going to take this apart. So just be ready, because they are going to be so excited by how this works that they're going to want to see how you actually did that. And I'm going to show you how to do it today. I haven't made one for a long time. I made one just the other day with my group, and they loved it, so I thought I'd share with you. So bear with me today while we work through this. We're going to do it kind of similar. This is the Thoughtful Branches stamp set, and we're going to use this one because I just love it so much, and it is going away. So if you see this on Monday and you want this stamp set, please email me right away. My email address is at the bottom of the screen, and we'll see what we can do to work it out to get this to you. It is only good through the end of September. So after that, you're going to have to change out the stamp set, and I'm sure that there's some great options. And this is such a cute card for any occasion other than just this one. All right, so we're going to get started on this. This paper, or this does require a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and then you can cut it into a piece that is 5.5 by 12. And the reason that you could use an 11-inch piece of paper, but you know, when you cut that in half for a long card, that card is only going to be 4.25, and you really do want the extra height because it's this way. All right, so I know it's a little disconcerting, but you can get 2 of these cards out of one 12 by 12, and you should never make just one card. Go ahead and make both. Put the other one in your card box for when you need it at the last minute there. Okay, so you're going to take your piece of 12 by 12 and you're going to cut it into a strip that is 5.5, and the other 5.5, you're going to have a 1-inch piece to spare. You're going to bring in your trimmer then. So let's get started. This is my Stampin' Trimmer, and I'm going to stand up just so I can see, if you guys can see what I'm doing. Zoomed out as far as I can, guys. I'm going to do what I can here. I am going to, it has 2 different blades. It has a scoring blade on it, and it has a cutting blade on it. You only are going to want to score here. You're not going to want to cut, so we only want the light one. So we're going to push that out of the way, okay? All right. I'm going to put this in here, and I am going to put it to the 3.5-inch mark right here. Close this, hold it, and this is my score line again. I'm going to score it, okay? And then I'm going to take this score line that I just made, and I'm going to line it up at 4.25, because remember, we're 5.5 tall here, so I'm going to want 4.25 wide. So I'm going to put it at 4.25 here, and I'm going to score it again. All right, so now you can see that my card would look like this. I've got scores. That score is not very deep. Hold on one second here, guys. This is why you love me. I only film it once. I never do a second take. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we've got our score lines here. I need an additional score because I do need this card to be just a little bit fatter, okay, so that I can get my parts in there. So on your scoreboard, on your trimmer, you have this grooved line here. I use this next line over as just kind of a natural mark to find it in there to use, because I don't want it to be super fat so that it can't get mailed. So I am going to line it up right next to that, and I'm going to hold it up so you can see. I'm using this line instead of this score line, which is my normal one here. I'm using this one right next to it. That's where I'm putting my score line. I held that down there, but I'm going to double check it, okay? And I'm going to score again. And I'm going to slide it over, and I'm going to go to the outside of this first score line we made, and I'm going to move that over like we did on the first side and score it again. What that has given me is 2 super skinny lines here and 2 super skinny close together lines here. See them? And then I'm going to go ahead and fold them just so I'm sure that I know where they are. So that is both of them. So now you can see that my card actually gives me a little tiny box part area there. Can you tell there? Okay. So I'm going to do that on both sides. Awesome. So that you can see it. Great. Okay, the reason I started at 3.5 is because when I close this, it's really close to the whole way. If you score it more in the middle so that this seam is more in the middle, what happens is this is the back of your card and you want it to look kind of finished. So you can play with where you want it. There's quite an overlap. You can play with where you want it, but you do want to make sure that there's enough overlap, and I like it to look a little finished in the back. That's why I have the seam there. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute. I think we need it again, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to put it close by. All right, so again, this is the back of my card. So this is the front right here. Now, I need to make this box area. So I have gone to my framelits here. And this is our new squares collection of framelits, and they're nesting, and you can see just how many you get. Oh, he actually goes up there. You just get so many squares. So I just picked a size that I liked, which was the biggest of the regular. These are scalloped, and these are just regular guys. And I used that. I'm pretty sure I used that. Yeah, okay, good. Woo. All right, I used that, and I put it right on here, open. Put my card on open on my Big Shot, and I eyeballed it because I'm an eyeballer. And I ran it through and cut it out. And I'll show you that in just a second. But I do want to show you this too. So right here, you can see it says Sizzix 141708. If you look at the item number for these framelits in the catalog or on your packaging, it is going to be that number. So if you ever are mad frenzy creating and you've got a lot of framelits laying around, you can tell what package they go back to, where they go, with that number right there. Okay, moving on. So anyway, I eyeballed it and I cut it out and I did it here for you. So I'm going to now reinforce these score lines. See, magic of photography. Okay. All right. So now I've got it here for you. And this is how I'm going to want it to fold over. But before I just fold it over and close it, there are a couple steps that I want to take. I need to assemble the mechanism, and then I also want to go ahead and stamp on it first, because if I try to put all the pieces in there and then stamp it, I get an uneven surface and I may get a less wonderful image. So let's put this down here and get our wonderful image. I'm going to use this stamp mat because I am using stamps, as I said, from the Thoughtful Branches stamp set. This has a bundle that goes with it, and it makes fabulous things. It makes all kinds of great things that I'll show you later. But in the meantime, you want to get your hands on it before it just goes away altogether. So I am using stamps from that stamp set, and I thought I'd use this, You're in My Thoughts. Okay, because everybody just needs to know that somebody's thinking about them. So this is the stamp that I used. I'm going to use my Memento ink. And again, the mat, as I'm stamping, I will tell you, you want to put the mat in there because when you're using these photopolymer stamps, there's no cushion between the stamp pad and the actual stamp image and the block that you're putting it on. And so to get a good image, you want to make sure that you are using one of those mats. If you're not getting a good image, you can either order one. You're going to want to order one anyway. They're super inexpensive and you're going to find so many uses for it. But until you do, use a mouse pad or something like that to put underneath to give it a little cushion. Okay, so we've got our You're in My Thoughts here. And we know how it's going to close. Again, we need that mechanism part. So I'm going to take this apart and show you the tricky part. There is like a septum piece in here, a little centerpiece. Okay, and so we are going to create that. Now that centerpiece, I cut from white so that it would look just like the white underneath here. It doesn't really matter because it's really, I swear, it's not going to show. But, well, it shows if you open it. But anyway, all right, so the piece that I cut is, I started with a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, like you would a normal card front. And then I just took a hair off this way and a hair off this way. So it's really, it took about an 1/8 off there and an 1/8 off here. And that is so that I have space, so I'm not pushing the edges if my folds aren't perfect, which, you know, I eyeballed it, so it may not be. That's what's going to save me there. And then this is a trick. This is a big trick. So you want to take, this is the top of my little innard piece here. I just stuck a punch. See how the punch shows like that? I just did that exactly right here and just snipped out that little part. That way, when I put my card together, this staple is not going to impact where it comes. I want this to ultimately be flush. You can see that it's flush. I want that to happen so that when it slides back into the card, it doesn't stick out of the top a little bit. If you forget this step, you are going to notice that. And what you can do is pull this whole thing out, this mechanism out, leave this in your card, and just reach in here like I did, and just do a little hatch job with your scissors, and nobody's going to notice, but you would just feel better if you did it on the front end. Okay, so this is my little middle part. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. The way you put that in is I'm going to put it in right here, and I'm going to use my dimensionals, and you want to use all of just the edges. So I've already snipped them between each one of these little edges to save time, but you want to do that, and you want to put it way over by the edge. Okay, if you don't put it way over by the edge, whoa, like that one, yikes. Here, I'll just tell you, and then I'll just show you what would happen. You want to put it way over by the edge, because if you don't, what happens is when you go to slide your cards in, they get jammed up, and you just really don't want them to get stuck. And you don't need that many. You don't need that many. You're not supporting something. You know, I always talk about put a lot because you don't want a saggy bottom. You don't have to worry about a saggy bottom here. Right now, all you're worried about is making sure that the mechanism then is going to slide in and out pretty easily. Jeez, what is up with me today? All right, there you go. All right, so I'm going to get all these backs off. If you're having a hard time getting them out, just poke them with your fingernails and the ends pop up, and then that pulls them right off like that. And you just throw them on the floor like here at my house. Okay, and then I am going to lay this right on top centered, flush with the, it doesn't have to be flush with the top actually, it can be down just a little, but there you go. Okay, so now it's in there. Nobody would know that I've just created a little pocket, a little hidden pocket in there. And I'm going to go ahead and close this up. Okay, so the way that I'm going to close this up is, again, with dimensionals, and I'm going to do the same little thing with the halfsies. I just am not going to put them right exactly on the same spot that I have them. So here's one. I can feel it with my fingers, so I'm going to go just above it, and we'll put one here. And again, I'm going way to the edge of this so that it doesn't cause a little log jam when I want to try and slide my piece in. If you are having a log jam when you slide your piece in, don't worry about it. Just pull your inside piece out and trim it a tiny bit and stick it back in there, because you always need an alternate plan. You need a little bit of a plan B. Oh, I'm out of little edges, so I'm just going to tear that one off. Okay, so I've got those. I'm going to take all these backs of these off. So I end up, this is funny. So my studio, my classroom, for those of you who take classes, you know, is in my basement. It's downstairs. And when I finished my day of work here, which is really a day of play, I know you pity me, don't you? I go upstairs and I trail these little hexagons of white. Okay, so I'm going to fold the shorter side in first. And then I'm going to fold the outer side in. Before I fold it in all the way, I am going to put a little bit of liquid Tombow on there. Right here. And I'm not going all the way to the edge because I don't want it to glue here. I just want a little here to hold it to the other part of the same color. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to give it a little squeeze so that it just grabs. Okay, my card is ready. Pocket, check, it's in there. You see that? Okay. And I'm going to set that aside. Now I need to make this inside piece. I'm going to sit down to do this because we're going to do a little coloring. My favorite. But first we're going to make the magic happen. I know you guys like to make the magic happen. I am using a piece of Whisper White. This one is cut at, let's see, 3 3/4 by 5. So I've taken off a 1/2 inch of each side of the panel. So that it is a little bit smaller. And then I have also cut a window sheet at the same size. Okay, you see that there? I've cut a window sheet at the same size, and a couple ideas on window sheets, but you know what? Let's talk about that another day, because this is already a kind of a long video, and I did a long one to you last time and had to apologize a lot. So let's get started. We're going to make this piece right here. So I am going to stamp on this card, and I'm going to kind of line it up here with the lines on my grid sheet. I am going to be using, well, where did I put my mat? Here we go. I'm going to put my mat under there because I don't know what I'm thinking for right now. Later, I will use that for sure. But right now, I'm going to put that on there. And I am going to be using Stays On ink. And actually, yeah, it really doesn't matter at this point, but it will in just a minute. Okay, you know, I'm not using Stays On ink. I'm just going to use Memento. Okay, so I'm putting that lid back on. See how neat I am? All right, I am going to use my Memento again. Memento is kind of my go-to ink in general. When given the choice, that's what I'm going to stick with. So, oh, well, this could have been important. So, when I slide this in here, I do need to know where to stamp. So I'm going to make little pencil marks in the corners that I can erase, okay, and then back out with you. And they're going to be really super faint for you, but I don't want them to be too evident to anybody else. So now I kind of have an idea where to put my trees so that they are within the frame when I put it in there. And I'm going to lean in, probably block the camera with my head, and I am going to stamp. Okay, give it a little pressure, count to 3, do a little song, whatever it is you do. Okay, it won't matter. All right, only happens on video, I tell ya. All right, again, I'm using my Memento ink, and this is the ground. So in that stamp set that I showed you, put it away, don't know where it is. This is kind of the ground, and if you see this little gap, that is perfect for this front tree. So it really does automatically give you a little bit of depth. And it doesn't so much matter when I'm stamping in black because both parts were black, but had I been stamping in, let's say I wanted the tree trunks to be brown and this grass to be, or this ground here to be green, I wouldn't want that green line to go over my brown and my brown over my green, whatever. So this works really well, especially if you're using a different color, but I'm not. All right. So this is my, this is this card. Oh, the magic. You're seeing what's happening. This is this card right now. Okay. I'm just going to do the top part and then we'll color it. And the reason I'm doing my top part first is when you use Stays On, it does actually take a while to dry. So you do want to do it, set it aside, have a cup of coffee. Of course, that's my solution for everything. Okay. All right. So then first thing that you need to do is find a piece of washi tape you don't love. So I think this is like an older retired one. I know you're saying, I don't have any washi tape I don't love. If you don't have the new Christmas catalog yet, then definitely let me know. But I'll tell you, you are going to find a lot more washi tape you love because that's just the way it goes. Okay, I am going to put this right over the exact top of where I just taped that down. I taped it because I just don't want anything at all to shift here. And I'm going to put another piece of washi tape here because I'm a little bit neurotic. And I'm going to put another little washi piece down here. And that is holding my plastic over my stamped image perfectly in place. And now you see what I can do, right? I can stamp right on top of it. So I'm going to be using my Stays On, inking it up. Yeah, that's good. Inking it up with Stays On. Now, Stays On and your photopolymer stamps don't love each other. That's not a match made in heaven. So as soon as you're done stamping with your Stays On, you want to clean it off. So I am holding this for a second, and then when I lift, I'm going to be really careful to go up straight. If you don't go up straight, all right, we're going to do that one more time, guys. That's the beauty of photopolymer. Let's try and do a better job. Sorry about the head, guys, the head shot. Let's see if I can get a better image. All right, the reason that I'm not getting a good image is I'm not leaning right over it and sticking my tongue out because I am one of those people. All right, let's try now. Okay, much better image. All right, sorry about that. So the reason that I am doing this part now, again, it does stay wet for a while, and I'm going to want to pull it off and set it aside. So now I'm inking up my ground with the Stays On also. And I'm going to lay that right over the top of this other ground, and I'm going to hold it. You want to really use both hands to hold this when you're doing your Stays On stamping. Stays On, first of all, stays on, right? That's its superpower. But it also, it will stamp on plastic or metal or anything like that. That's great, but it also stays on your hands. It also slips a little. So if you put your stamp down, it's very easy to slide it around, and that's why I'm getting a little smeary lines, but I'm not going to be sad about that. I'm going to just pull this off now and set it aside and let it dry. And I'm going to color this and stamp it. So I am going to be using, again, this stamp set. You can see that I've loved it a little bit, just a little bit. I'm going to be using this stamp, which looks like a bunch of little dots, but they're really very, very cute little trees. And I'm going to be using quite a few different colors of ink, so I will list them down there. This is Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to ink it, I'm going to stamp it, I'm going to ink it, I'm going to stamp it. Mind you, I am on the white paper now. My window sheet is right up here. I'm not using it now. And then I am going to just stamp this off. I start with my lighter color and work to my more intense colors, and that keeps me from polluting my ink pads when I put it back in there. If you're worried about it, or when in doubt, clean it off, okay? You don't want to end up ruining your stamp pads. Ooh, I slipped it around a little. I'm going to put this one on here, and I'm going to do orange. This orange is Tangerine Tango. And I'm going to stamp it again. And you notice I'm intentionally stamping it not exactly in the same places. It just makes the trees look a little more full. You could always stamp a couple of these down here too to give it some leaves falling off the trees kind of thing. All right, and then my last color of ink here is Cajun Craze. That is the same color that I used for my 12 by 12 paper. So that will, and again, stamp down a little so that fills that out. So it'll help tie it together a little bit. And now I want this watercoloring. And the way that I'm going to do the watercoloring is with my stamp pad and my, with my water pen, my water marker. So let's see. I am going to be using some sky blue, and I need a palette of it, so I'm going to just squeeze it a little bit before I open it, and it ends up putting some right in here for me. Makes a perfect little palette. Your water pen here, you do not want it to be super wet, okay? You don't want it to be super wet, just a little damp. You just want to be able to pick up a little, and I'm just going to swoosh it around here. I want it to look like I watercolored it. I don't want it to be perfect. I am not going to worry about, oh, it's streaky. I know it's streaky. I wanted it to look streaky. The sky is not perfectly all the same color. So I'm going to do this. If you really are hating an area, it's too streaky for you, give your pen just a tiniest bit of a squeeze and get a little water going. Mind you, you're not using watercolor paper. So when you're not using watercolor paper and you give your pen too much of a squeeze and you get your paper really wet, it will cause it to kind of get a little waffle in there. It'll get a little welt. So try really hard to just avoid the urge to give yourself too much water. You don't want your paper too wet. Okay. Alrighty. So that's my blue. That's my very fancy watercolor blue. And now I am going to be using Garden Green for the ground. Again, I'm squeezing and then opening. I've given myself a palette. I'll talk to you while I'm doing this. If you find that you are using a lot, if I were going to be making 6 of these cards, I wouldn't do this squeeze it in the palette thing. I would actually get a little palette out. I have, just a piece of plastic that I use, and I would put a couple of drops from my re-inker down to make that color instead of doing it in here. If you have squeezed your pen and you have gotten so much water on this, and you just wipe that till it's nothing again and it's done. If you have gotten too much water on your pen, excuse me, and it has gotten in your palette, then it will get into your ink pad, and you don't want that. Sorry about that. Ooh, okay. Am I okay? I think I'm okay. Maybe not. All right. I am not sick, I swear. But I was outside all day, and the allergies Whew, are getting me. Okay. Ooh. Ooh, good thing I'm going to put a staple there. Okay. Normally it doesn't happen with washi tape, but it does when you're going fast. I'm going to lay that right back over the top, and it's going to kind of show you just the trees again. Mind you, it's not, I keep saying mind you today. I'm sorry about that. Realize that it's not going to be right on top of each other until you pull it all the way out. So it's not going to be a problem. I'm going to use this ribbon on here because you know what I was thinking about when I did this? I was thinking fall and winter, which in my lit class a long bajillion years ago, a long time ago, we studied the Nothing Gold Can Stay poem. And that is just so fall to me. So I thought I'd just use a little bit of gold in there. About the colors changing in the season. And I'm just going to lay this over the top of my card. And then I am going to bring in my Stampin' Up! Stapler. I love this little guy. Love, love it. I'm going to weasel it down right in the middle here. And I have eyeballed the middle, but I do want to get these to match up again. I have eyeballed the middle of my card, and it's not going to be too far off. If you just eyeball it, don't worry about that. It will work. I'm telling you, it will work. You need to trust me. I reached over the top and I made the staple here. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just like that. Then I'm going to take my card, open it up, slide the back. Go. Oh, that's the wrong one. Where'd I put it? Here it is. It wasn't Comfort and Joy, this new one. It is here in my thoughts. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put the white solid piece that's got the pattern on it behind my white middle septum piece. Now you can't see it. And I'm going to tuck this piece in front of it like that and just slide it down. And if it's sticking a little, remember that all you're going to want to do is just trim your edges a little bit. I'm probably going to trim it when I'm off camera, but I just want to get this in so you can see it. Because of that divot, it will fit all the way down. Okay. So it's going to fit all the way down. I'm probably going to have to trim it. I don't know where I stuck I stuck one of my dimensional succulents. There we go. All right. So here it is like this. And then when they pull it up, it's going to do that. Okay. And I am going to trim it a little off camera just so it slides a little tiny bit easier. I'll probably just trim a tiny bit here, here, and here. Just hairs on both pieces so it slides in easier. But there you go. It's going to ultimately look like that. You know, we'll put this one back together in front of you so you can see how to do it. This colored one goes back behind in the back. This plastic one goes between the front and the back and the middle thing, and then it slides right in. Okay, and it will be flush because of that divot that we made earlier, and you are all set. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this magic card. If you see anything that you'd like here, I would appreciate if you would go to my website, www.ourcraftyplaydate.stampinup.net, and place an order online for this. Again, it's only available through September for this stamp set, and I am trying to earn a trip. So if you would place an order, I would be very happy. Thank you so much for stopping by, and be sure to stop back next Monday for Movie Monday. Bye-bye.